Hello everyone, I'm Lola Ritz and this is Watching and Reading. I'm here to review the trending Hollywood movie right now, Straw by Tyler Perry. This movie just shows us the life of Jinaya. Jinaya is a single mother who is on her own, struggling to provide the best for her child. And her child is like sort of ill. She states that her child has seizures sometimes. So this could cause the child to like just fall while standing and all that. And the child gets like injuries from such accidents, right? On this particular day, Jinaya drops her daughter. Her daughter is Aria. Her daughter is an 8-year-old. Jinaya drops Aria off at school. She goes to work. Where she works is kind of like hectic, right? And she has this boss that is just trying to be impossible. Jinaya gets a call from Aria's school saying that she needs to come, right? So she tells her boss that she has to go to her daughter's school. And her boss tells her that it's only 30 minutes he's giving her to go to school and come back. And that day is the day that she's supposed to get her pay. And Jinaya already owes rent. She already has like bills that are unpaid. And even the teacher had told Aria to tell her mother to pay $40 for lunch. So like there's a lot of things that Jinaya has to pay for, right? And that day was the last day. Or rather, that day was the day that she was supposed to get paid. So anyway, the boss gives her 30 minutes. Jinaya steps out. Then she first of all goes to the bank. The bank is like just across from where she works. She goes to the bank, saying she wants to withdraw her money. So she has what she has left in her account is for $7. So she wanted to withdraw the $40, right? So that when she gets to her daughter's school, she paid the $40 for lunch. When she went to the ATM to withdraw the money, it didn't dispense. And then she asked the manager what the problem was. And then the manager said that the reason is because if she should withdraw $40 from the $47, the $7 that's left will be below the minimum amount that she's supposed to have in her account. So like she has to wait for more money to come into the account before she can withdraw that $40. Denaya leaves, she goes to the school, and at the school, the teacher has already called social services, and social services is taking Aria away. And they said it's because Jinaya couldn't pay for her daughter's lunch, and they found marks on Jinaya's body, and she like was trying to explain what had happened, that her daughter had had a seizure and she fell. That's where the marks were coming from. And that for the $40 she's going to get paid that day. You know, her daughter needs special care. Her daughter doesn't eat just anything. There's select type of foods and whatnot, but like none of them were having it, none of them were listening. The teacher wasn't listening, the lady at the social services wasn't listening. Frustrated, Jinaya is driving back to her place of work. And there's this long hold up. It was raining, there was a hold up. So in order to get back to work and meet up with the deadline for the 30 minutes, Jinaya cuts the line. And another car also crossed the line. And so they crash into each other, right? Only for the guy in the other car to come out and say, oh, he's an officer and he's going to really deal with Jinaya for hitting his car. According to him, Jinaya hits his car, whereas they were both at fault, right? Another officer comes there to like try to calm the situation, and the officer asks for Jinaya's license and registration. And when she gives the officer says it's expired. The first officer who she had that running in with then told her that he's going to deal with her. He's going to kill her. The next time that he sees her, he's going to find a legal way to unalive her, right? She was already who can hear that kind of thing and still feel the same, right? But anyway, this new officer that comes to calm the situation impounds her car. And the lady impounds her car because she says the license and registration is already expired. So with the car impounded, Jinaya has to go back to work in the rain. So by the time she got back to work, she was already drenched. And then her boss sees her and is like, oh, I gave you 30 minutes to leave and you're back in 2 hours, whatever. She's fired and whatnot. And she kept explaining that he shouldn't fire, he can't fire her. She needs the job. And he said, well, that's what he has to say. She's fired. And like her boss was a very nasty, rude individual. He asked, like, what about her paycheck? And he says, well, she's going to get her paycheck in the mail. And she's like, she can't wait that long because it takes 3 days for the check to get to the mail. And she doesn't have 3 days, right? Like I said before, she owes rent. She hasn't paid her child's lunch. Oh, just everything. But he just says it. Like, he didn't just care. He just told her to just leave. Anyway, she leaves. She goes back home. And then she sees that her landlady has thrown her things out because she didn't come with the rent, you know, because the landlady said she had the right to throw her out because Jinaya told her in the morning when she was going to work that she get paid that day and she bring the rent to her. And now that Jinaya doesn't have the rent, she has every right to put Jinaya's things out. And it was raining. So her things were like drenched in the rain. Like it was at this point, I think it was at this point that Jinaya actually lost it because we see that same way she's looking up and she's like shouting into the rain. And that is what I felt like she had lost it at that point. Anyway, she just picks up a bag and she puts her daughter's science project in it to protect because the water is not supposed to come in contact with that science project. So she just put the science project in the bag and she left. She went back to her place of work. She met her boss and told him one more time that she needs her check. And the boss just refused to give it to her. He just ignored her, being nasty as usual. While the boss is being nasty and she's just standing there waiting for her to listen, waiting for her check, right? This guy just walks in and he calls her name, Jinaya, and he says, can Jinaya help him to get the money in the safe and whatnot? And she and her boss are looking like, what's going on? That's when this guy pulls out a gun and they realize that this is a robbery. So the guy then tells the manager to bring out all the money in the safe. The manager brings out all the money in the safe. And then the robber tells Jinaya to put all the money in the bag that she's carrying so that they can, move the money out of the building. And Jinaya is like, she can't do that, she can't do that. The robber then goes close to her and is trying to grab the bag from her. And then that's where Jinaya just pushes him, out of self-defense, overpowers him, and then she picks his gun and shoots him. Right? As she shot him, the second robber runs away. And can you believe what the boss said? The next thing the boss said was that Jinaya had actually planned with that guy to come and rob him because he refused to give her her pay and because he told her to wait for her check in the mail. And she was telling him like she didn't know who he was, but he just kept repeating is that she planned with the robber to come to steal from him and whatnot. And the next thing her boss picks up the phone and he starts to call the police, starts calling her name, that she planned with the robbers and whatnot. Like she was just trying to like explain to the guy. And his own point was that why did the robber know her name? Why did the robber just come in and call her by her name, if not that she planned with him? And she was explaining to the boss that she has a name tag. So the robber saw her name on her name tag and called her name. It's not like they know themselves. He was just reporting to the police and whatnot. And I think it's out of panic or out of frustration. Like she just had enough. She shot her boss. And I honestly, at this point, I was okay with it. Like, because the boss was just doing too much. She picked up her check. She left the money that was on the table. From there, she went to the bank. And at the bank, she meets this lady at the counter, Tessa. And so she gives Tessa her check and tells Tessa that she just wants to cash her check. Then Tessa asks for her ID. And she says she doesn't have her ID with her. And then Tessa tells her, oh, it's against company policy to cash a check when the customer does not have the ID. Then she was telling Tessa, like, I'm not new. I've been using this bank for the longest time. You know me. You've been seeing me. So can't you just let it go just today? Can't you just let it go? Today I don't have the ID. I just need to cash my money. And the Tessa was like, you know what, there's nothing we can do, what not. And then Jinaya then brings out the gun. That's the gun that she collected from the robber rat. She just brings out the gun, puts it on the counter, and tells the Tessa, just cash my check. And then immediately Tessa presses this emergency button that alerted the manager and the police that there's a robbery going on. Immediately Tessa starts bringing out all the money that they have in the safe. Just bringing out a lot of money. And Jinaya is like, what is Tessa doing? Like, she didn't ask for this much money. She just needs Tessa to cash her own check. But Tessa was just bringing out all the money and stuff like. And I'm like, I was watching that scene. I'm like, why is this she doing this? Like, did you not hear what your customer said? Like, she just said, cash my check. That's what I don't know how cash my check now translates to bringing out all the money. But that was what she was just doing, bringing out all the money. And then Janaya just got angry and it's like, I don't need all this money. What are you doing this for? Just cash my check. And the next thing, Tessa starts panicking. And then the other lady at the counter as well, Raya, she too starts panicking. And they're just like, And that's when Janaya was like, why are you acting like that? Like, nothing calls for this kind of reaction. Before you know it, the police calls the manager. The manager is in the office and the manager is seeing what's happening, right? And the manager sees the bag that Janaya comes with. And he sees the science project in it. But the issue is that the science project has a blinking light on. So the manager had mistaken the science project for a bomb. So when the police was communicating with the branch manager, Nicole, in the office, and they were asking her to describe who the robber is. So the branch manager was describing her, and she even said, this robber has a bomb in her bag and whatnot. So like there was just I think that everything that happened there was just a misunderstanding. The next thing you know, the police is already outside at the doors of the bank. And then that's when Gina is like, what's going on? She just shocked, like, why? What is all this for? The next thing, the news comes up on the TV. That's in the banking hall, right? There's the news coming up, and then there's already the camera crew, the TV stations are already outside, they are reporting live. And that's when Janaya sees it on TV and sees that they are reporting that there's a bank robbery going on. She hears that her name is being called. She hears that she's there to like rob money from the bank and whatnot. And Janaya is like, what's like, how did all this happen? What's going on? And watching the TV, Janaya could see the police officer that she had a run-in with earlier, the police officer who had said he's going to deal with her and is going to find a legal way to unalive her. She could see him on the screen. He was also with the officers that were outside, planning to do whatever they wanted to do to her because they thought she was a robber. And then that's when Janaya just decides that she would not leave the bank because of that officer that's outside. The negotiation team is called in. They are discussing with her. Like, let me stop the review here. I don't want to run down everything. The remaining part of the movie was about negotiating with Janaya to let the hostages, all of a sudden, the other people in the bank, the other customers were now hostages. So to let the hostages go and to surrender herself. So that's what the remaining part of the movie was about. What do I have to say about this movie? You see, this movie, like, I just finished watching this movie, like, literally, like, right now. I just finished watching it now to come and do this review. And I don't know, I've been crying. I don't know if it's showing in my eyes, like, I've been crying. I had to wash my face before I come to do this review. The character, Jinaya, is very, very relatable. And how did I find out about this movie? Like everybody was talking about this movie. I've been seeing other people's reviews on my Facebook feed, so I decided to just watch it to check it out. And you know, watching those other people's reviews, what everybody was talking about, they were talking about how the movie shows the downsides of being a single mother, shows how evil it can be of men to get someone to have a child with someone and abandon that child. Watching the movie, I agree with that logic as well. It shows the struggles that single mothers have, how they struggle to like provide the best for their child. If I had not the best, how they struggle to provide the basics for their child, it is very, very difficult when the father refuses to hold up to his own side of the responsibility. I get it, but me personally watching the movie, that's not the only thing that I'll say I took from the whole movie. That's the first thing, right? But it's not the only thing. The second thing I would say I took from this movie is this movie just shows you how much hate people have against black women, whether single mothers or not. Because let me tell you, anybody could be in that kind of situation. How much hate and the fact that everybody wants to show power, everybody wants to show force when it comes to black women. That is how me I see it. Because first of all, let's start from her boss. Like, why talking to her the way he did? He talked to her with no regard, no respect, and that is what most black women face. What I like about this movie, yeah, is that it's relatable to black women all over the world, not just in America. That's the first thing. That's what most black women face in places of work. Whether your boss is male or female, there's just this kind of aggressiveness and this kind of hate. There's this kind of like the bosses always feel like they have to put you down because you're a black woman. I'm saying this out of personal experience. The way her boss was talking to her rudely, talking to her without any regard, and the fact that he had waited for her to work that whole month, and then that day that she was supposed to be paid was the day that he saw best to fire her. I have experienced these things personally as well. In fact, sometimes you work and you wouldn't even get paid. And if you speak up, like I've done my work, I've done my part, why don't you pay me? If you speak up, there is going to be show of force. I have experienced these things personally. So that's why I'll say I've seen the boss, the first person, then the landlady. This is a woman. That's why I said it's showing, this movie shows the way people want to show force and show power when it comes to black women. The landlady, just because you happen to be in that position where you have your house that you can rent out to people, and you know this tenant personally, you know what she's going through, you know the struggles that she goes through as a single mother, but you still choose to be unsympathetic towards her case and throwing her things out like that in the rain just because what's like, has she not been paying rent before then? Right. So that's that. Then we have the police officer who is actually at fault and is actually then telling her that if he sees her again, he's going to find a legal way to kill her. Show of force, show of dominion, show of power. Then you go to the bank, you have the bank teller, Tessa, who she's trying to prove difficult or what, because honestly, watching that part, I didn't get why. She just suddenly sent out an alarm saying that it's a robbery. When your customer has said, just cash my check, show of force as well. Show of force, I would say it's like show of, to me, it looks like show of force from the banking industry because this is, we black women, we work hard to make pennies. Yes, we work so hard to make pennies. We work more, put in more hours, and then your money is sent to the bank. And when you get to the bank doesn't want to give you the money that you worked so hard for. I've experienced these things personally, and that was why I was just crying because it just reminded me of my past experiences. You go to the bank, you have your money, the bank will not want to give you. They come up with an excuse not to give you your money. They'd hold it down. It's like the thing is that being a black woman, right, you have to fight for every single thing, and that is what is tiring. Like things that you shouldn't. These are things like we're in 2025. We shouldn't have to be struggling and be fighting for basic things like this. But like unfortunately, that's where we are. And another painful part is that most of the time that aggression and show of force comes from fellow black women like us. That's another painful thing, right? And then when the only black women that I would say do not face this kind of problems are black women from privileged backgrounds, right? Black women from well-to-do homes who have like men in their lives, like wealthy, well-to-do men, powerful men, who are probably like their fathers or their husbands. Then that's when you see the women don't face this kind of thing. But if you don't have any of these things, then you're just going to have to struggle for everything in your life. And it's not fair. When you think about it, it's not fair. Like kudos to Taraji. Like I love Taraji. She's a very, very she's one of my best actresses, right? And Taraji is the kind of person who can show you pain. Even if you don't want to feel the pain, just watching her, you feel it with her. It was Taraji who had acted Ejariah, right? And I also enjoyed Tiana Taylor as well. Tiana Taylor was the detective who was negotiating with Jiraiya. And also kudos to Sherry Shepard as well. Sherry Shepard was the branch manager, Nicole, right? So I really like these three. I like these three women. I respect them as artists, as actors. They are very, very good, and they both of the three of them rather, the three of them were able to bring the emotion to the screen, and it made us to feel it. Like I recommend this movie. This movie is like, well, it's one of the best about this year. It just is for me personally. The movie just reminds us of where we are as Black women and how much work we still have to do. You know, to get better treatments now and in the future. Like I'm so sorry. It's almost like I can't coordinate. It's almost like I can't really coordinate what I want to say, but like I'm still very emotional. Now that's why I just rush here to just do this review. Right. I recommend the movie. So let me just end it here before I continue rambling. That's that about this review. See you in the next one. Bye.